Well, greetings fellow Star Trek fans, and welcome once again to one of my videos. I'm going to show you something Star Trek related, and this one it's pretty unique. This is pretty cool, and I actually didn't know about this till recently. This is the packaging for the 2009 release of the reboot of the Star Trek franchise. Oops, let me put that back for you. Now, the movie was directed by J.J. Abrams, and that's why some of you may have heard or the new Enterprise referred to as the J.J. Prize. Well, what this is a special limited edition packaging of the movie. It actually comes with a small model of the rebooted Enterprise, and the discs are actually housed in the saucer section. Now, you know, that's just, to me, that's so cool. And I didn't know about this till recently. I just happened to be looking on eBay, and I had seen a listing of the model. And it was just the model. And then when I was looking at the pictures, I saw that the discs were inside. So that kind of fascinated me. And I was tempted to purchase that one, but there was no box or anything. So I did some research into it, and I saw that there was a special edition of the film with the 2-disc set, and it came with the model. So I just thought this was so cool, I wanted to share it with you guys, so I got a new one instead. This was pretty expensive. This is probably around $16.88, $17. To me, it's well worth it. I just, I love the little prize that comes with the film. I can't wait to open it and show you guys. You can see the back. I don't know if it's going to focus, but it shows you the little model and the discs. The packaging itself is what you'd expect with a DVD, a double set. It's got the Star Trek logo on the front. You can kind of see, I think that's Captain Kirk peering through. And you can see the Enterprise through the clear. You can actually see that they did some of the Aztecing, and I'm in a hurry to see the quality of the model. At top you can see Star Trek U.S.S. Enterprise 2-disc digital copy special edition. The sides, basically, just 2-disc digital copy special edition. Pretty straightforward on both sides. Of course, this was released in 2009. The movie came out in 2009, so I believe this was released in either 2009 or 2010. Because it's pretty small and my eyesight's not that great. So looking at the back, you can see, again, it's got a picture of the ship. It comes with a stand as well, and the 2 discs. On the top of the box, you can see the Kirk and Spock depiction. Well, what I call the wannabe Kirk and Spock depiction. I'm not a big fan of the Kelvin timeline. I like the ships, though. I think the ship itself is beautiful. Later on in the series, I do like the U.S.S. Vengeance. I think that ship is just incredible. It shows what it's got. 1.5 hours of special features on the other disc. More deleted scenes featuring young Kirk and Spock, Klingon, and more of the Green Girls. It's got a behind-the-scene featurette, new version to Boldly Go, the casting, the aliens used, the musical score, the gag reel, the documentary, and the free game trial. Fun, smart, sexy, sleek, and action-packed. It's not just a great Star Trek movie. It's great. It's a great movie, period. Anyway, those are the reviews. The future begins in J.J. Abrams' smash hit Star Trek. A burst of pure filmmaking exhilaration and an irresistible invitation for fun. When the Romulan Nero comes from the future to take revenge on a Federation, rivals Kirk and Spock must work together to stop him from destroying everything they know. On a thrilling journey, filled with incredible action, and new recruits of the USS Enterprise will voyage through unimaginable danger in one of the biggest and most critically acclaimed movies of the year. I went ahead and I put a little clip together for you to give you some information on the film. There are, spoiler alerts as usual, so if you haven't seen the movie, you might not want to watch any further. But I'll show you the short clip that I made for you guys, and then I'll be right back. The year is 2233. The film opens with the USS Kelvin, designation NCC 0514, heading to investigate a strange anomaly near the Klingon border. A hole in space opens up, and they witness a huge craft emerge from it. That huge ship later attacks and disables the Kelvin. The person responsible for the attack is a Romulan named Nero. The ship he commands is called the Narada. Later, the USS Kelvin's captain, Captain Robar, would transport to the Narada to negotiate a ceasefire. He is later killed, which places First Officer George Kirk in command. The Kelvin's damage is extensive, and Kirk orders its evacuation. Among the crew members are his wife, who is not only pregnant, but actually in the process of delivering a son. She departs along with the rest of the crew in escape pods. Kirk stays on board to ram the ship into the Narada in an attempt to damage it. He has no choice to do this because the autopilot function was destroyed in the attack, and he is killed along with the destruction of the Kelvin. We are later introduced to James T. Kirk while he is in his adolescence. We see him steal a classic car, which is a Corvette. The car was actually his father's. His abusive stepfather would throw his brother out of the house and order him to wash the car. While cleaning the inside of the car, the young Kirk discovered the keys. We are then introduced to Mr. Spock as the Vulcan Science Academy has accepted his application. He elects to turn it down in order to join Starfleet. We are later introduced to Uhura as James Kirk tries to pick her up in a bar. Kirk later tries to hide as he is with her roommate, a green Orion girl, but is discovered and leaves the apartment. We later see Captain Christopher Pike as he persuades the young Kirk to join Starfleet to make something of his life and to honor his father. While at the Academy, we are introduced to Dr. McCoy. Kirk meets him while on the transport vessel. James Kirk later takes the Kobayashi Maru. He tampered with the programming which allowed him to fire and destroy on the Klingon cruisers in the simulation. He does this in a program that he attaches to a message to his Orion girlfriend. He asks her to open a message specifically at 3 o'clock. In doing so, she releases the program which would change the conditions of the test and allow him to destroy the Klingon battle cruisers and pass the test. When Kirk was being reprimanded for his actions during the Kobayashi Maru, the proceedings are interrupted by a distress call from Vulcan. Starfleet dispatches a fleet to help fight the intruder, which is attacking the planet Vulcan. Captain Pike takes the USS Enterprise, and we are introduced to Akara Sulu as he takes the helm in place of a sick crewman. He temporarily forgets procedure, preventing the Enterprise from going to warp, but Mr. Spock helps him rectify the problem. Vulcan is under attack by the Romulan ship Narada, who was responsible for the destruction of the USS Kelvin years earlier. The Narada destroys the fleet sent to help Vulcan and drills deep into the planet Vulcan with a destructive beam which is tearing the planet up. This huge ship was so equipped because it actually is a mining vessel. With the rest of the fleet gone, Captain Pike surrenders to Nero, who is commanding the Narada. He beams over to it and leaves Mr. Spock in temporary command. Mr. Spock then promotes James Kirk to first officer. Kirk, Sulu, and Olsen tried to incapacitate the beam, ripping apart the planet by jumping down onto it. They were able to sabotage it. They do manage to damage the drill enough to stop it, but the damage had already been done, and the planet Vulcan is ultimately destroyed as the red matter is inserted deep into the planet, creating an artificial black hole which consumes the planet. James Kirk is later exiled as he would attempt what would be described as trying to start a mutiny aboard ship.
Spock orders the Enterprise to rendezvous with the fleet while Kirk wanted to pursue the Narada in order to save Captain Pike. While on the planet he was exiled on, he meets the prime timeline Mr. Spock, which would come from the future. This part is played by the legendary Leonard Nimoy. He mind melds with Kirk and informs him that both he and Nero are in fact from the future. A black hole, which was created artificially in an attempt to save Romulus, was unsuccessful, and as revenge for his loss of his own homeworld, Nero marooned Spock on the planet he was on in order to watch the same thing happen to his homeworld planet of Vulcan. We are later introduced to Miss Montgomery Scott as future Spock and Kirk find him in an outpost on the planet. He helps Kirk get back to the Enterprise after Spock gives him a formula to transport people to a ship while the ship is in warp mode. Kirk is returned to the Enterprise along with Mr. Spock. They mount a successful rescue to save Captain Pike, who is on the Narada. Kirk assumes command after proving that Mr. Spock of the Kelvin timeline is incapable of command due to his personal distress. The witnessing of his homeworld being destroyed and the death of his mother have him in personal peril. The Narada would ultimately be destroyed by an artificial black hole created by the Kelvin timeline Mr. Spock, and he is helped by the future Mr. Spock, who gives him the instructions. He uses the red matter, which ignites upon the small craft's destruction as it collides with the Narada. The creation of the black hole would also draw the Enterprise into it, but it was saved by ejecting the cores which exploded, pushing the Enterprise forward to help it escape the gravitational pulls. With Earth saved, Captain Christopher Pike is promoted to Admiral. James Kirk is promoted to Captain, and he, Spock, and Mr. Scott stay on the Enterprise. Mr. Scott is made head engineer. Introduced to Kirk, Spock, Scotty, Sulu, Dr. McCoy, and Mr. Chekhov, we meet the crew that would embark on its famous 5-year mission.
Okay, welcome back. And now we're going to unbox and I'll show you the DVD and the model that comes with it. Of course, when it comes to the movie itself, my favorite part, well, I do love the Enterprise. I think she's beautiful, and I love the fact that Leonard Nimoy was in the film. I want to keep the plastic as intact as possible, so I'm going to see if I can open the bottom. See, what I like to do is I like to run a knife through the bottom, through the seams where the box closes. That way there, you can open it up. So let's open it up, bring out the model, let me adjust the camera for you. And there'll be plenty of pictures. Close the box back up, and just like that, you still got your box in plastic to help keep it safe. So we got a sheet. I'm assuming this is the instructions. Maybe not. This must be the game. It shows the new picture, logo, the Enterprise for the movie. This is probably for the, maybe the digital copy and all the gaming. Got that. So we'll put that aside, and let's see if they're... Oh, the instructions are at the bottom. You can see that. So let's go ahead and we'll take the saucer section and see if it pops out or if it's all, nope, no tie downs. You know, the first impression, the detail is pretty cool. I mean, think about it. This is just for a DVD, and the amount of detail that went into this model is pretty cool. They did a really good job. Let's see how you open it. You can see the impulse drive. So that's how it opens. So when you push on the impulse drive, it opens up, and you can see both of the discs. That is a really, really good idea. It's like going back to your childhood, you know, when you go get a hamburger, like Burger King or Burger Chef, and it comes with a little prize in the box. I mean, this is just so cool. Alright, so the plastic pieces separate. Let's get the top plastic piece off. Again, there'll be plenty of pictures. So, the two pieces come apart, and of course there's tape where... Alright, let's get that off. Alright, you can see some of the pieces. Like I was telling you, the detail for this is pretty amazing. Don't forget, this is only for a DVD, and the detail that they put into making this. See the deflector dish? Let's see the other nacelle. I mean, it's pretty straightforward where you probably wouldn't need instructions, but it does come with instructions. You can see the front of the nacelle with the blue. Again, this is so detailed. This is really cool. Very, very surprising. And like I said, it's fun. It's really fun. It brings out, you know, the kid in you, like you're getting a little bit of a prize. Yeah, I have no shame. I think it's awesome. You got the saucer pylon. And you got the nacelle pylons. These are solid pieces. Interesting, you got the color code. So if you lose the instructions, let's see if the nacelle has the... So that one's green. Let's see what this one is. Yep. So you got the color code in there, the little dot. That looks like it's red. And you've got the red on the saucer pylon, so you would think they go together. So that's a pretty good idea. We got the, I don't know if this is the port or starboard side nacelle pylon. We'll find that out in a minute. And it's got a stand. So you got the Starfleet insignia. I don't know if you can pick that up. Same on the other side. There you go, the light hits it nicely. And it says something on the bottom. I don't know if that's just, you know, like a collector item number. And you see it folds up and the ship goes onto it. So this is pretty cool. So we got all the pieces, so let me show you the instructions. And I will put the instructions up. Well, I'm going to put a lot of photographs for you guys, because I always do, because it helps. Because that's what I would want to see. If I was looking at this for the first time, I'd like to see a lot of pictures that I can pause and check out. So you got the instruction sheet. And it's got two sides. You can see how it opens up. You push in on the impulse engines, and it comes up, and there's no hinge. The saucer sections just separate. You can see it just goes into the stand. You fold up, and that's pretty awesome. So let's get her built. Put the instruction sheet behind her. So let's start with, we've got the secondary hull. And again, you got the color coding. So we'll take the nacelle pylon, and you can see where it just locks in. So let's lock it into place. You can hear a snap. So that's all set. And you got the green dot on what would be the port side of the ship. So we find the green dot that's on the nacelle pylon for the port side. So the green goes with the green, and let's see if it just locks in as easily. Alright, you hear the little click. And once it clicks into place, so you know it's on. So you look for the dot, and it's got the green dot. So we look for the pylon, excuse me, the nacelle with the green dot. And let's see, this one's got the red dot. And this one, obviously, must have the green dot. So, again, put it together, locks into place, and there you go. Port nacelle pylon. So let's go over to the starboard side. And you've got the red dot. You've got the red dot. And it goes into place. Again, sorry for doing it off camera. It's awkward to do it on the camera. And when you slide it in, you've got the little click. Red. The red dot on the nacelle. And just like the port, the starboard clicks into place. I do think the Enterprise is beautiful. One thing I don't really understand why they put the nacelles so close together. But that does look really nice. There are no lights in here, no electronics of any kind. And now we're ready to put the primary hull onto the saucer pylon. And that just clicks into place on both sides. And this is so much fun. This is awesome. I love it. Paramount, please do this for Star Trek the Motion Picture. Please do it for the Wrath of Khan. Please do it for Star Trek 3 The Search for Spock. Maybe a damaged Enterprise. I love this. This is so cool. There's our beloved Enterprise remade into the J.J. Abrams version. And for something that just comes with the movie, this is really, really fun. So let's put her onto the stand. You see the stand, there is nothing that clips together, it just holds together, and then it would go into the bottom of the secondary hull. You can see the little slots, so let's get it to click. Alright, so you hear the click, and it's interesting because, you know, the stand folds, so there's no moving parts, and what you've got is a wonderful model you can put on your desk, your shelf, near your other movies, and it's to house your DVD. Now I showed you guys a little clip on about the movie. This isn't so much a review on the movie. I did give you some information about it, but I just wanted to show you mainly the packaging. It's so fun. The USS Enterprise. Now it looks like the box wants to fall again. Okay, so again, open it up, push on the impulse engine, and it lifts right off. Let me actually take the discs out to show you. You just push in the center, and the disc pops out. You've got one disc that has the movie. When you want to put it back, you just push it until you hear the click. The second disc has the special features. You just push, and it pops right out. And when you're done watching, you just line the saucer section back up with the impulse to where the impulse area is. You get a nice snap back together, and your discs are nice and safe. Isn't that awesome? Again, I like to capture the details, so I put up as many photos for you guys as possible. And, you know, you can pause it, and if you wanted to do that, that's fine, because that's what I would do. I would pause maybe the instructions, the back of the box, all the writings. But I'm so glad that I found this. Again, I guess I really do enjoy the new films, more so for the special effects and the ships, because the ships are beautiful. So the ships are really cool, and I would just love to see them do this with the classic Star Trek, or even, like the original series. I understand that, if you buy the whole series in a box set, there are 79 episodes, and that would be a little difficult. I mean, that would be really cool if you could make something to house them all, but, more realistically, if you sold, like limited edition, maybe the most popular episodes, and you can do something like this, that would just be fantastic. Because, I may be in my 50s, but I'm still a kid when it comes to Star Trek, and I just love this. Do you remember going to McDonald's? Well, I remember going to McDonald's, the Star Trek The Motion Picture came out, and I was ecstatic to get the Star Trek The Motion Picture Happy Meal. If I still had it, I would get it, and I'm sure they'd sell that on eBay, but, when I saw Star Trek The Motion Picture, I just went crazy, especially after seeing the refit for the first time. But my friends, this is the Star Trek, the reboot from J.J. Abrams, 2009. And I wanted to show you the special packaging that comes with it. The little model that you put together. And you get to house your discs. So I hope you enjoy this video. If you didn't know about this before, I encourage you to get this, because this is just such a great way to watch the film. You can put the model together and, put it in front of the TV with you, and you can watch Star Trek together. The detail is nice, especially for a little something that was just meant to be, well, let's throw something together and sell it with the DVD and package it as special edition. But this is actually, a lot of thought went into this. It's solid, it's really solid plastic, and it's built to last. This isn't flimsy, so. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll be with you again to share another Star Trek collectible. Till then, live long and prosper.